In this video, I'm going to outline a simple acronym, which is a three-stage process you can use in your own cycling and could be the difference between staying on a performance plateau or taking your road cycling to the next level. So welcome back to the RCA Training Tips Show, where today I'm going to share a three-stage process we use at the Road Cycling Academy to help amateur and recreational cyclists from all over the globe get stronger on the bike. And this gas is something that you should be able to take away from this video and start implementing into your own cycling training plan as of tomorrow. So, this very famous, well-known and well-regarded three-stage reaction to stress called General Adaptation Syndrome was developed by a very well-regarded Hungarian-Canadian endocrinologist called Hans in the early 1900s. Now, as mentioned, GAS has three primary stages to it, which represents the body's response to stress. And generally, it doesn't necessarily have to be physical or physiological stress. It could also be with GAS, psychological stress, but we're focusing on physical stress today, notably stress in regards to cycling. And the three primary pillars include the alarm phase. This is when more intense stress or stimulus, so type, volume, or intensity is applied. The first response is the shock or alarm phase that may be characterized by excessive soreness, stiffness, and a drop in performance. This phase may last few hours, few days, or even weeks. And let's face it, we all remember when we got back from that first 100-kilometer or 100-mile ride. We remember that one. We were pretty sore after that. The second phase is the resistance phase. At any instant, the body has an ability to respond and adapt to a training stimulus. The body adapts to the stimulus through various neurological, biochemical, structural, and mechanical adjustments, leading to increases in performance. Many of us will know with resistance, after that first 100-kilometer ride or 100-mile ride, we do it again, it gets a little bit easier, then we do it again, and all of a sudden it doesn't seem that hard anymore. And the third phase is the exhaustion phase. If the stress persists for an extended period of time, the body loses the ability to adapt to the stress, and soreness, stiffness, staleness, and maladaptation may occur. Even this very recent study of 11 participants demonstrates mitochondrial function impairment and decreases in glucose tolerance from overreaching. So in other words, overtraining, which this graph implies, where over time you will increase your performance through the resistance phase, but at some point you will hit a wall and either plateau or even lose fitness through the exhaustion phase. So now we've shined the light on GAS. How do we get stronger on the bike with GAS front of mind? Two primary tools. Number one is variability in our workload, and number two is rest and recovery. So we want to use variability in our workload to constantly alarm the working muscles to continually reproduce the resistance phase time and time again, and use rest and recovery to mitigate the exhaustion phase. And there are three kind of high-level ways we can use this within our cycling, and they are: number one, at a workout level; number two, at a general plan level; and number three, our general approach to cycling year on year. Now, given this is the RCA YouTube channel where our videos are 5 to 10 minutes in length, we don't have time for all three, so let's focus on one, which is how to think about GAS at a workout level. So as discussed, there are two critical tools we can use to extend the resistance phase and mitigate the exhaustion phase, which are variability and rest and recovery. So let's focus first on variability at a workout level. And here are some examples on how you could continually create new alarm. Number one, the volume of training can increase as time goes on. The intensity of your workouts can change progressively, making workouts harder as you get stronger on the bike. The cadence selection could change. Some workouts could be high cadence, some could be low cadence. The structure of each workout can change. Some could be high intensity training rides like bunch rides, and others could be high intensity interval training rides. And within high intensity interval training rides, rest periods, repetitions, etc. can vary. And lastly, as an example, some sessions could be indoors and some could be outdoors. Now, that variability list, we could keep going on there, but I think you get the point. And the idea is we're not doing the same workout week in, week out. Like the same local bunch rides, the same smash fest with mates, the same comm challenges, the same trying to beat your average speed. You know what I'm talking about. We constantly want to be looking for new ways to alarm the working muscles without being silly, without overdoing it, so we're reproducing the resistance phase. A really great example of this is cadence. Many recreational and amateur road cyclists ride one cadence on the flats, one cadence up hills, and often zero cadence down the hills. They never truly vary their cadence. And what I mean by vary is sometimes they ride at a high cadence, sometimes at a moderate cadence, and sometimes at a low or a very low cadence. And by riding at different cadence levels, we're essentially leaning into different physiological systems. Higher cadence, you'll notice more breathing, more cardiovascular system focused. Lower cadence, you'll notice less heavy breathing, but more muscular fatigue. As an example, if you were doing some low cadence drills, as you become better at operating at low cadence, say doing a hill repeat, we can incorporate some higher cadence mini sprints at the end of a low cadence repeat, both in the saddle and out. Maybe once we get conditioned at riding that way, we could change hills, maybe alternating the steepness and length, or both. Ultimately meaning we're constantly mixing things up, creating new alarm. Now it should be noted that we're not just doing this sporadically, we're doing it in a structured way as per the step ladder approach. And I'll link to more information on the step ladder approach below. But back to that example, we're progressively adding more reps. We're progressively slowing the cadence down. We're progressively adding in mini sprints, and we're changing the way we sprint, maybe in different parts of the hill. As time goes on, as we get stronger, so we're constantly alarming the working muscles. Now, the other critical element to all this is rest and recovery. We can't just keep alarming the working muscles and going for more resistance, because we'll hit the exhaustion phase too early. So it's very important that we think about rest and recovery as well. And we're going to talk about this at a workout level. Now, I did make a video specifically on this topic, which I'll link to up there. But for the purpose of this video, to put it simply, follow these simple rules. Never do 2 back-to-back days at high intensity in a row. Separate your high intensity training sessions with either rest, recovery, or base zone 2 training rides. And every 3rd or 4th week, have an easier week with very little intensity. Now, of course, there are caveats to that. If you're a super conditioned amateur cyclist, you're towards the end of a training block and you're looking to squeeze the most out of your fitness, you will start incorporating some back-to-back days at intensity. Maybe you've got a target event and the target event requires you to go back-to-back days of intensity. Then you would train back-to-back days at intensity, so you condition yourself for that. But for the vast majority of recreational and amateur road cyclists out there, you are best off following those simple rules. So think about gas for your next training session. Think about how you can add in variability and ensure that you're leveraging rest and recovery so you're not hitting old mate exhaustion phase too early on. If you got value out of this video today, please don't forget to give it a like. And if you're yet to subscribe to the channel, we're pretty new here, about 6 months old. Appreciate your support below by subscribing, hit the bell to ensure you get notified of when these videos go live, and we'll catch you in the next video.